Hi, it's Bren Murphy here. I'm just talking today about embracing change and how people can reject change or be fearful of change or even the concept of change and just run a million miles straight away. Okay, so the first takeaway I wanted to say is that people can fear change just because it's a change. Okay, so we get sort of stuck in a rut, or we get in a routine, or we have a certain set of ideas or a certain way of doing things, and any idea of even challenging that established routine can be seen as a threat. Okay, so straight away you can go on guard. You go, why should I change? Or you get defensive, or you start questioning it and analysing it and looking for sort of, is the requirement for change a sign of my inadequacy or weakness, or is that why my life is so crap right now because I need to change? What should I have changed earlier? Would that have made my life better sooner? Things like that. Those fears and the uncertainty can really have people resistant to change, even the basic idea of change, and just pretty much close the book on change and just go back down to their routine, whatever they're doing, and just not confront or not face change at all until they're forced to face change by a relationship ends, a job changes, a company closes, major health scare, some outside external event comes in and forces change upon them. And when that happens, it's mind-blowing because they're not prepared for change, they're not used to change, haven't embraced change, they're fearful of change to such a thing that when it actually does happen from an external agent, it's huge. Okay, so their reaction again is to pause, stop, analyze, resist. All those words come up, and it means it's a long process. It means they're not able to respond quickly and decisively and make a decision and go forward with confidence. Instead, they're more likely to pause, waver, wallow, and indulge in a long, drawn-out process of questioning and rubbing their chins and looking out into the middle distance as though it's and they look at the change as though it's a sign or a symbol of something deeper or an overall part of a story, when it's actually just one element that has changed. And the best response, or the most resilient, the most empowering response, is to accept the change, embrace the change, and get on with the change and make it into part of your habit and your lifestyle. So that was the first thing I wanted to talk about, was change, because that's a big part I deal with in life coaching, talking to people. Is pretty much within the first hour or so, we talk about, or you will raise, center on change, and for any action or any growth or any development to occur hinges on your ability or willingness or openness to change. If you aren't an easy changer, or if you aren't open to change, the word open, like as in a deep breath, open, and seeing possibilities and potentials and seeing things as a curious challenge instead of a threat or a negative or a challenge, as a negative challenge, that's a big thing as well. So with change, we've got to embrace it as sort of inevitable and just part of life, and it's not to be feared, as a core thing, not to be feared. Okay, that was a big part of what I've been talking about with people recently, but also another big part of change is accepting that change isn't as hard as it used to be, which is quite mind-blowing as well. In the olden days you might have heard of Freud and Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, they didn't know 100 years ago that there was such a thing as neuroplasticity. Neuro is your brain matter. Plasticity is plastic, flexibility. And neuroplasticity means through repetition and emotional attachment, but let's just say through repetition, you can rewire the neurons, which are the nerves in your brain. So by doing something over and over again, like a classic example is by shooting hoops, basketball hoops, over and over again, you get better at it, and you build your brain organically changes to be better at shooting basketball hoops. Compared to if you do not do it ever, your brain will not sort of accommodate to change for that because you don't do it. Okay, so if you're, let's put that in practice. If you're looking at dealing with grief, if you have never dealt with grief and no one sort of died or it hasn't happened to you, when it does happen, you will not be prepared for it because you haven't built any neural pathways around that idea, the idea of grief and handling grief and moving through grief. So you rely on other things to transfer over to adapt to it. Okay, moving on from that example. The bottom line with neuroplasticity is your brain can grow and change. It isn't locked in. Just because you are 36 or 47 or 62 or 84 doesn't mean you are set in stone and what you are is what you are. The opposite of that is you are a certain age and you can evolve and adapt and grow, and plastic brain can be remolded like plastic to suit the circumstances and your environment and what you stimulate yourself and expose yourself to. So, let's say today I start painting watercolors every day for an hour each morning. I immerse myself in YouTube, I immerse myself in a training course, I go to class at night, I join a club, I'm talking watercolors, okay? I immerse myself in it. Give me 3 months, give me 100 days of doing that every day, or 5 times a week. My brain will change to reflect that. My neural pathways will grow watercolor sort of based pathways, so I'll become more proficient at it, okay? In the same sense, if I replace doing the watercolors with swimming laps at the pool, my watercolor brain, those neural pathways will fade and get thinner and be less dominant, and my swimming laps, if I replace it with swimming all the time, will become thicker. So whatever you focus on and whatever you give your attention to affects your brain and grows in your brain, grows your neural pathways. So if you are focusing and giving your attention, and then if you tie it with emotions and excitement, it grows even quicker. So if you're passionately in love with swimming, it will grow quicker and it'll be a joyous, amazing thing. But if you hate it and ignore it and run away from it with fear, it won't grow, it'll wither on the vine. So the idea is a neural pathway starts as a hair thickness, a tiny thin hair. And over time, through exposure, repetition, discipline, attention, focus, passion, energy, it grows to the thickness of rope. Okay, that's what we're looking for. We want to establish our new habits, our new routines, our new passions, our new focus areas. We want to grow them as thick as rope, from the thinness of a hair to the thickness of a rope, through repetition, through passion, through exposure, through immersing ourselves in a community who speak and talk in that language. And that's what life coaching is about. That's what life coaching with Bren Murphy is about, personal coaching. What we do is we will bring up, you will bring up your areas, and right now it might be a hair thickness, and we'll work together over time, not a long time, it can be 90 days, 30 days, and we will thicken those neural pathways, the neuroplasticity of your brain, so it'll be more familiar, you'll be more at ease, you'll be more comfortable, you'll be more fluent, you'll be more effective, you'll be more comfortable and competent and confident in those areas through practice and analysing it and working through it and doing it. That's what we're about. So we're about embracing change, rejecting the fear of change, and then the discipline and the attention and the focus to build our habits and build it into our lifestyle to make it part of who we are and have it as thick neural pathways in our brain through neuroplasticity. Welcome to the Personal Coach. This is Bren Murphy. I can really help you do all this. I'm having a big part of it now is working with people one-on-one and in group settings to workshop these ideas on your key focus area. So the best thing is to start with one key focus area, and as you master that and move forward, you can move on to another area. So if we're doing 30, 60-day plans, you can do one, set a goal, achieve it, nail it, bang. Maintain that, have the confidence and the competence, build the momentum into another niche area or another domain, and then build it again. And as you start stacking your competencies, you'll reinvent yourself. You can have 6 or 8 or 12 new competencies that will crowd out your old negative habits or the old weaknesses or the old vulnerabilities which you mightn't wanted to have focused on, and they will fade into the background, and you'll bring those new positive things to the fore. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? Send me an email on the links underneath, and we can start from there. So my name's Bren Murphy. It's thepersonalcoach.com.au. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks a lot.